Hello, hello, hello! Welcome back to another episode of Speak English with Luna. I am so incredibly happy that you decided to hit play today because we are diving into a topic that is, well, it's a bit spicy, isn't it? We are talking about money. Now, please don't run away. I know, talking about dollars, cents, salaries, and budgets can make your heart race and your palms sweat. It feels awkward, right? It feels like you're walking through a minefield. But here's the thing. If you want to live an aspirational life, if you want to grow your career and your confidence in English, you have to master the art of the money talk. Today is going to be a very special journey. We're starting off nice and easy, at a B1 level. It's going to be smooth sailing, clear sentences, and simple ideas. But as we move through this 15-minute session together, I'm going to slowly turn up the heat. We'll move into B2 territory, and by the very end, we're hitting some serious C1 level vocabulary and complex financial concepts. Here's my challenge for you. Can you stay with us until the final second? Can you push through the moments where the English gets a little tougher? If you can stay until the end, you're not just learning words, you're building the mental stamina of a native speaker. Joining me today is someone who has spent decades helping people navigate these tricky waters. He's a master of calm and a fountain of wisdom when it comes to the psychology of finance. David, I am so glad you're here to help us make the uncomfortable feel totally comfortable.
Thank you, Luna. It is a genuine pleasure to be here with you and your audience. You are absolutely right. Money is often the last taboo in modern conversation. We talk about our health, our relationships, and our wildest dreams, but the moment someone asks about a budget or a price, we tend to freeze up. My goal today is to help your listeners realize that money is just a tool, and the language we use to describe it shouldn't be a source of fear. It's just a conversation, like any other.
Exactly, and that's why we're here. Listeners, grab your coffee, take a deep breath, and let's get started. Remember, we are in this together. If you find yourself getting a little lost as the English gets harder, don't worry, just keep listening. Your brain is doing the work even when you don't realize it. David, why do you think we find it so hard to talk about money in the first place?
I think it's because we tie our self-worth to our net worth. When we talk about money, we feel like we are exposing our successes or our failures. But once we learn the right phrases and, more importantly, the right mindset, that weight starts to lift. We can talk about financial goals instead of money problems.
I love that. Let's lift that weight together. Before we dive into the deeper waters of our topic today, I want to take a moment to really settle in. I want to say something very important to every single one of you listening right now. If you feel a little nervous, whether it's about your English skills or about the topic of money itself, that is perfectly okay. In fact, it's normal. This is a safe space. We are here to learn together, and there is absolutely no pressure to be perfect. We are focused on progress, not perfection.
That's a very important point, Luna. In my work with families and executives, I always tell them that every financial expert was once a beginner who didn't know the difference between a stock and a bond. The same applies to language. Whether you're learning to manage your wealth or learning to speak a new tongue, the first step is always the most vulnerable. I want you to look at your mistakes as data points. They aren't failures, they're just information showing you where you can grow next.
I absolutely love that perspective. Data points. That is such a powerful way to look at it. Listeners, David is here to remind us that we are in a judgment-free zone. If you hear a word you don't know yet, don't panic. Don't let that inner critic tell you that you aren't good enough. Just let the rhythm of our conversations stay in the background while you focus on the feeling of confidence we are building together. We are going to take this slow, and then we'll pick up speed.
Exactly. Think of this episode as a laboratory. You can experiment with the sounds and the ideas here. You're building a bridge between your current self and your future most confident self. No one is judging your accent to your bank account here.
Well said, David. So, listeners, relax your shoulders, take a deep breath, and let's get comfortable with the uncomfortable. We've got this. All right, David, let's get into the nitty-gritty. I want to start with something that happens to everyone. Imagine you are out at a nice dinner with a group of friends. The atmosphere is great, the food was delicious, but then the check arrives. Suddenly, the air gets heavy. Someone suggests splitting it equally, but you only had a small salad and water, while everyone else had 3 courses and wine. How do we navigate that without sounding like a cheapskate?
That is the classic check-splitting dilemma, Luna. It's the perfect B1 level challenge. The key here is to realize that being clear is being kind. Many people feel that if they mention the price, they are being rude, but actually setting a boundary is healthy. You can simply say, "Hey everyone, everything was delicious, but since I only had a salad, I'd prefer to just pay for my own portion today. Does that work for everyone?" See? It's direct, it's polite, and it uses very simple language.
Clear is kind. I love that phrase. It takes the emotion out of it. But David, let's step it up a level. Let's move into B2 territory. What if the conversation isn't with friends, but with a partner or a spouse? Talking about a tight budget or saving for a rainy day can be very stressful when 2 people have different spending habits. One person might be a spender and the other a saver. How do we find common ground?
That's where it gets interesting. In a relationship, money isn't just about math, it's about values. To move into that B2 level of English, we start using terms like financial transparency and aligning our goals. I often suggest the couples have a money date. You don't talk about bills during a fight. You schedule a time when you both feel calm. You might say, "I'd like us to sit down and look at our discretionary spending. I'm feeling a bit anxious about our long-term savings, and I want to make sure we are on the same page regarding our financial future." Notice the shift in language. We're talking about feelings and future planning now.
A money date. That sounds much more aspirational than a budget meeting. I like the way you phrase that. Discretionary spending and on the same page. Those are such great B2 idioms. But now, David, I want to challenge our listeners. Let's go deep. Let's move into the C1 level. Sometimes we aren't just talking about lunch or monthly bills. We're talking about our careers, negotiating a salary, discussing equity, or talking about the return on investment for our time. This is where many people, especially non-native speakers, feel the most intimidated.
You're right, Luna. This is the big leagues. At a C1 level, the conversation becomes more nuanced and strategic. When you're sitting across from a CEO or a hiring manager, you're not just asking for money, you're articulating your value proposition. For example, you might say something like, "Based on my contributions over the last fiscal year and the current market benchmarks for this role, I'd like to discuss a remuneration package that more accurately reflects the value I'm bringing to the firm. I'm particularly interested in how we can structure my incentives to align with the company's long-term growth trajectory."
Wow, that sounded incredibly professional. Remuneration package, fiscal year, growth trajectory. Those words have a lot of power. David, why does that high-level language make us feel more confident? Is it just because the words are bigger?
Not exactly. It's because those words are precise. When we use precise language, we move away from the awkwardness of the topic and into the professionalism of the topic. If I say, "I want more money," it feels greedy. If I say, "I want to discuss a salary adjustment based on market benchmarks," it feels like a logical business transaction. We are removing the socioeconomic baggage that we all carry. We're acknowledging that we are professionals in a marketplace.
I have to admit, even for me, saying those words feels like I'm putting on a very expensive suit. It changes how I stand and how I breathe. But what about the fear of no? What if you use all this amazing C1 English and the person says, "Sorry, the budget is frozen"?
Then you pivot. And this is the ultimate C1 skill, negotiation. You might respond with, "I understand the current fiscal constraints. However, I'd like to explore non-monetary benefits, or perhaps set a performance-based review for 6 months from now when the budget might be more flexible. I'm committed to this organization, and I want to ensure our partnership remains mutually beneficial." See what we did there? We didn't get angry, and we didn't give up. We used sophisticated language to keep the door open.
Mutually beneficial. I'm writing that one down. That is such a strong way to end a difficult sentence. It reminds the other person that you are on the same team. Listeners, did you hear that shift? We went from splitting a dinner bill to negotiating a high-level corporate contract. It's all about the tools in your linguistic toolbox. David, this has been so eye-opening. The way we talk about money really is a reflection of how we see ourselves in the world, isn't it?
Absolutely, Luna. Whether you're B1 or C1, the goal is the same: to communicate your needs and your value with clarity and dignity. Money is just the medium. The English language is the bridge.
It is time for our favorite part of the show, the word tour. This is where we take the most powerful terms from our conversation and lock them into your memory. David, let's start with something every saver knows.
Let's do it. Our first term is discretionary spending. This refers to the money you spend on things you want rather than things you need. Think of it as your fun money for movies, dining out, or hobbies. For example, we need to cut back on our discretionary spending this month if we want to save for our vacation.
That is a great one. Very professional. Next, we have an idiom that is used in every business meeting in America: to be on the same page. This means to have the same understanding or to agree with someone. You might say, before we sign the contract, I want to make sure we are both on the same page regarding the interest rates.
Exactly. Now for those of you aiming for that C1 level, here's a heavyweight: Remuneration Package. This is a fancy, formal way to say your total pay, including salary, bonuses, and benefits like health insurance. In a negotiation, you could say, I am looking for a remuneration package that is competitive with the current market standards.
I love how that sounds. It makes me feel like a CEO just saying it. And what about the direction of a company, David?
That would be the growth trajectory. This describes the path or the trend of growth over time. You could tell an investor, our company has been on a very positive growth trajectory over the last 3 quarters.
And finally, my favorite phrase of the day, mutually beneficial. This describes a situation that is good for everyone involved. For example, a flexible work schedule is mutually beneficial because I am more productive and the company saves on office space. Now, it is time for my favorite part of the show, the part where you become the star. This is our community challenge. We don't want you to just listen. We want you to speak up. David, I think we have a really interesting question for our listeners today, especially after everything we've discussed about money talk.
I agree, Luna. Here is my challenge for all of you. Think about a situation in your life right now where you need to have a money conversation. It could be asking for a raise, talking to a friend about a shared bill, or even just discussing a budget with your family. My question is, which one phrase from our word tour will you use to make that conversation feel less awkward?
I love that. Will it be on the same page, or maybe you're feeling brave and want to try Remuneration Package? Tell us your answer in the comments or on our social media. Use the phrase in a sentence to practice. We made it! We have officially reached the finish line of today's episode. But before we say goodbye, I absolutely have to ask, did you do it? Did you stay with us through the entire 15 minutes? If you are listening to these words right now, it means you successfully navigated the journey from basic B1 conversation all the way up to that high-level, complex C1 professional English. That is an incredible achievement, and I am so, so proud of you. You've shown today that you have the mental stamina and the curiosity to master the aspirational English that truly opens doors in the global world.
Indeed, it has been a genuine pleasure to witness this growth today. My final piece of advice for you is this: don't let these words stay in your headphones. Language is a living thing. Go out and use it. The next time a check comes at a restaurant, or a salary discussion comes up at your office, or you're planning a budget with a partner, remember that you now have the vocabulary to handle it with dignity and precision. You are far more capable than you might have felt 15 minutes ago.
Thank you so much, David. Your calm perspective was exactly what we needed to tackle such a spicy and sometimes awkward topic. And to our amazing community of listeners, thank you for trusting us with your time today. If you found this episode helpful and you feel a little more confident about your financial English, please leave us a 5-star review and share this episode with a friend who is also on their journey to fluency. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a chance to level up your life and your language with us. I'm Luna, and I can't wait to see you in the next episode. Keep dreaming big, keep pushing your limits, and keep speaking. Bye for now.